Hey, we got it to work. Awesome. I'm always surprised somehow when when the streaming actually starts happening. I'm always like, how does this happen? Hello, one and all. Welcome to the second installment of this series, where I talk about all things to do with DM, and I try not to spoil too much, but to talk a little bit about what's going to go into the next episode of God Heist, and a little bit about what happened last week that was unexpected. So this is Roll Inside Episode 2. Thank you so much for being here. I am your humble GM, Joshua McGregor. First and foremost, of course, I need to reiterate solidarity with the Black Lives Matter. I did not do vocal warm-ups before starting this, so Black Lives Matter movement. Solidarity with that. And of course, all of the best wishes to everybody who is out there and is protesting in the States right now. That is a huge what's happening is momentous and historic, and if we can actually get to the root of some of our systemic problems in society, hopefully that will bleed over into the UK and to Canada as well. And that's one of the other shout outs that I needed to make. In Canadian news, there is a woman, and I gotta forgive me if I mispronounce this. Her name is Regis Korchinski-Paquette, who is a Black woman who very tragically lost her life in Toronto, fell off a balcony while police were investigating. There are this tragedy needed further looking into, and the police did not allow for that originally. So I've put some links in the description. A big shout out to Alberta Saunders, who put me onto this this horrible tragedy. There is a change.org petition and a GoFundMe page where you can go and you can read about exactly what happened and show your support either vocally online or by chipping in a few dollars or pounds. So, our thoughts and prayers with the victims and with the victims' families, and more than just our thoughts and prayers, our voices and our social energy in the form of our money as well. We can make change happen, and that's what we should do. So, that being said, let's dive right in. So let's start with what happened last week that I didn't predict or that was unexpected. Last week being episode 6 of the God Heist. So episode 6, what happened was I did the last Roll Inside video, and then I got a message from one of my players. And if you watch the episode, you'll probably be able to guess which one. But they were saying that they wanted to switch the character that they were playing. And this is at the same time as we have a guest star on, and so I'm like, okay, I've got to make some changes and set some things up to be a little bit different than they were before. So not all of which manifested itself last episode, but will definitely manifest itself tomorrow. So one of the players is going to be switching their character over, and I think it's an interesting point to talk about, because I don't know that I see a lot of discussions about how to treat player character death, and even how to treat NPC death. But what about when you have a player who is not comfortable playing the character that they have chosen? And the obvious and I think correct answer to that is people have to be happy playing your game. Um, People have to be comfortable at the table. So, or in this case, online, but you know what I mean. People have to be comfortable. So, the decision uh, to switch this uh, player character, this player's yeah, this player character over is uh, is one that was made like instantaneously. Absolutely, we're going to make that happen. So my job then is to give them a send off in the next episode. The character that they have been playing. And it's not to do with the fact that they don't like the character. It's just a matter of wanting to be more themselves at the table. So, we've got a send off to do at the beginning of next episode. We also left off last time with the training having gone undone, and I think the reasons that we didn't get to a lot of, and there was no combat as well. I was expecting there to be combat, but ultimately what happened was you just prepared too much, and that is absolutely fine. I think what we ended up with last episode was brilliant. I especially want to shout out Mark Crozier for playing Alice Vane as this evil character, and I know I didn't give that character a lot of leeway to do a lot of the evil things that they were doing. It was just the context that they were doing them in. We've talked. It's a some brilliant evil playing on Mark's part, and it's a fine balance. It's very the party balance was a little bit more even before the surgeon died, because Antonio's previous character would have been all about joining Alice Vane and resurrecting some zombies and skeletons and what have you. But he has since changed over to Riodon, who is a lot more understanding and probably decent, if that makes sense. So there are the results of the training that we've got to do this next episode. So that will happen as well. And actually, I also want to shout out everybody from the last episode, because I threw some quite emotional stuff forward, and everybody knows that it's a game and it's a story, and these people are not real. That Sophia and spoilers for last episode of God Heist. If you haven't seen it, don't watch this. And if you're one of my players and you're watching this for tomorrow, obviously, don't do that. But you can probably go and watch it back after we do our episode tomorrow. So, So, but the amount of dedication and role play that went into those characters dying really allowed for that to have the weight that it needed to have narratively. So it ended up being, I think, quite a powerful moment, and that's having a group that is comfortable and allowing you to do moments like that really helped to deepen the engagement, I feel. So big shout out to everybody. That's not something to be taken for granted. And if you're a DM or you're a player and that kind of thing, that kind of thing in the game is triggering for you or would make you uncomfortable, it's just a matter of having a conversation beforehand. It's just a matter of talking to everybody and saying, what are people's limits? Are people comfortable with certain things being a part of the game? And we had a talk right back at the beginning of the game where we talked about player character death and all of this stuff. Some unexpected things. So we had a guest character on last week, and he's coming back. He's coming back for a couple of weeks. Ralph Whiteley, brilliant DM. Well, he is a DM. He is a great DM as well. We just played a game yesterday, which is why it's fresh in my mind. So much fun. But no, he's a great DM and a great role player. in his own right. And in my head, we were like maybe 45 minutes before we get to his character. No. It ended up being uh what was it, like 2 hours? It was like at the hour and a half mark by the time I like called him. I got Alistair to call him just so that he was a part of the game. And then it was another hour 15 minutes or so before they got to Skarsgård and picked him up. So um the yeah, the okay, somebody's grabbing that. Sorry, there was a doorbell ringing, but somebody's going to grab it. So there was this thing where I really wanted to include Ralph's character in the capacity that he deserves to be included. And forgive me, I'm having just a little bit of a technical thing. That's okay. So you really wanted to get Ralph's character to do all of the cool stuff that he was so excited to bring to the table, and I was so excited to have him on the show for. Um, but the I think the character interplay and the amount of gravity that was given to Sophia's death, and Karen and Elbows, and um, the all of that is really important, and it's allowed these characters to really highlight their personalities in a way that the show has been a little bit too high paced to do up until this point, and really starting to solidify those personalities and those dynamics that are a part of that are why you would watch this party doing this show. Oh, okay. I'm probably going to have to cut this a bit short this time around. So I'll very quickly go over what I have prepared for next week. I was not expecting to have anything happen for another 15 minutes or so. This has been a bit of a shit show. I'm sorry about that. Right. So Session 7 prep. They are on a quest to get the Gamath orb from the lieutenant of Darafel, his name is Garazan. And there were a couple of different places they could go. Alistair and Dust are going to go one way. They're going to go another way. The combat encounter that I had prepared for last week, I have refined and changed. So it is now much more of a trap that they're going to find themselves in on their way to this secret base that that they have been hiding out in all this time. So the idea being that we will have a lovely send-off for one of the characters. We will do all the training bits that need doing, and maybe a couple of other personal scenes while they are on the way to this drop-off point. They're going to go through these tunnels underground, meet up with the player's new player character who will join them, and probably we will have to wait to get to know a little bit better until the action slows down, and that'll be a whole period of adjustment, but it is worth it. And we've got this initial combat encounter to kick things off. And the way I have this planned out is we've got one player character. Forgive me. So this is about highlighting Ralph's character and about highlighting our wonderful guest. So we have designed his character to work a particular way in combat. That is going to be very prominent and will play an even bigger role in the next episode, where they would actually be facing off against potentially Garazan himself, depending on the choices that they make, obviously, because things go off the rails. And that's who was it? Matthew Colville actually had a great video where he talked about what it means to railroad characters. And I've got to be careful about this in this game, just because it is very high paced. It is very structured, which is Railroading is when you say no to characters too much, and otherwise you're just telling the story. And never want my players to feel like I am manifesting the world to be against them any more than it would be anybody else, for punishing any choices that they would make. That is the complete opposite of what I want to be doing. And that's what was so concerning to me about last week um was that Alice Fane kept doing evil things and having it countered by people around them or by the world around him. And I I cannot stress enough how much I want him to be walking around with skeletons and zombies and being able to do all this stuff, and that he will be able to do going forward. Just, if you try to resurrect a zombie of a person's friend right in front of them, he might get mad. And um, and the ritual burying of the dead was something that has been in place since the very first episode, because of the Curse of Darafel, which is a big part of the world building for this world. So, um, it's always a conversation, especially with campaigns that are high lethality, highly lethal, like this one is. And when you're dealing with player versus player, which is something that may come more into play with Alice Fane and the rest of the party, when you're dealing with player character death or player characters moving on, and being swapped out, it's just a matter of big open communication. I don't want to spoil too much, but I'm very proud of the trap that I've designed for the upcoming combat. And there's an ability. It's because I designed a lot of the magic items. I homebrewed a lot of the magic items that Ralph's character is going to use. I know his abilities a little bit better than I know the rest of the parties, and that's one of the things that's really interesting, is that I don't read up on what spells my players take or what. I always try to read up on the feats that they take, because they have to run those by me before they take them. I need everybody's spell save DC and AC and the HP and all of that stuff behind what is essentially my DM screen, but I've actually got a pin board up behind the camera for the actual stream. But I find it much more fun if they use their abilities and spells to surprise me with what they can do, so that means I can put insane challenges in front of them, and they have to get creative coming up with solutions, and I don't have to come up with the solutions, because there are 6 or 7 of them, and they are 100% going to figure out how to deal with whatever I have planned. So that's my attitude on that. But I do have more of a handle on Ralph's abilities, and the way the enemies have developed, he's going to have one ability specifically that is going to wreck shop if he uses it. But I'm not here to tell him how to use his abilities. I'm just the guy who gave him some magic items. So look forward to some very interesting combat. And we're going to keep trying out different things. There are going to be different social types of encounters and what have you that are going to continue to be a part of the to be a part of the show. So there's a lot going forward that's really exciting. There's an ongoing secret storyline. You heard it here first. There's an ongoing secret storyline with one of the characters, which not even they are privy to. There are obviously there are the different factional secrets. There's like the orcs, Whatsit and Thano are plotting to invade. Some of the players rather, have told me about intentions that they have that have not been revealed on the show yet. Some of the forgive me. Yeah, and some of the players have revealed to me that they have secret motivations and things, but haven't told me what those are yet either. So there's a lot of surprise and genuine surprise that goes into these games. So no matter how much prep I do, and I do quite a lot of prep for each of these, because I want to be able to do enough prep that um, that if people have questions about the world, I'm readily be able to answer the questions that they have. But I'm very excited about the storylines that I write and that happen at me. Uh, so like that. Forgive me, I've been a little bit distracted this time around. There's been some stuff in the background. I'm going to go and see what is up. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to rejoin me for next week. We can have another little chat like this. Um, and continue to talk all things DMs and players and God Heist. Look forward to some unexpected stuff in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be very cool indeed. I'm very excited to share it all with you. Um, if you are not protesting, please stay inside. Please stay safe. Uh, Thank you once again to all the NHS workers, and we will continue to put out the word and support in the best way that we can. We are not a very large organization as of yet, but with any luck, as the months pass, that will change, and we will be able to do more to help for whatever is going on at the time, whether that be Black Lives Matter or COVID-19 or charity funds. However we can help, we will always aspire to do our best. So, thank you all very much, and I'll see you tomorrow or next week. You just watch this series instead of the main show, which is kind of not the point of this. Anyway, cheers very much. Bye.